Welcome back to Salesforce Field Service Office Hours. I am Leanne Nugent, joined by a small gang, and we are here to talk about field service. So we've got an agenda today. Last week, we talked about the basics of inventory setup. So I wanted to close the loop of that and just share that I updated the implementation checklist and to have those inventory steps added. Eventually, we will walk through how manufacturing cloud, their inventory components would be a nice supplement to field service, but I'm still not up to snuff on that yet. So it's on the idea list. But today we're going to talk about the service appointment generator. It's been a while since I've touched that package, and I'm glad I did because I found another bug in the code. So I don't know, is that a release over release thing or what? But I do feel like when you own a package, you have to review the code every so often because you never know what a release wrench might throw at you. So that's the agenda. Except before we dive into that, I wanted to just share a quick tidbit, and maybe we'll put this on the idea list too. For mobile, there is a Lightning Web Component library that you can use as a starting ground, which is great because it's an unmanaged package. You can download the code and throw it into a sales demo or a simple demo org or your Trailhead environment or whatever to just see what it's like to use Lightning Web Components. What I would recommend, because Brad, you were looking into potentially developing something like this out for your technicians, there is a find nearby or follow-up appointment. This find nearby does both find nearby tools or inventory as well as appointments. Let me just make sure that's true because that was the idea when we first designed this. I don't remember what was released. Display object is service appointment, but do we have inventory?
In our use case is just service point we're looking for. I already shared this link
Perfect.
with my colleagues. Oh, thank you.
Perfect. You're welcome. So one thing I would be mindful of is the ongoing administration of Lightning Web Components. What is the process of updating it? And then release readiness when you upgrade, how you test it. Sometimes it may require a hard reset for those technicians to get the latest Lightning Web Component package version. So it's not just a clear cached metadata thing. So I do want to be mindful that I throw that caution to the wind. And if you wanted to, I always forget where's the right place to look for this. Yes. Okay, perfect. If you wanted to hard reset your users or basically kick them out of the app and force them to log back in setup, you could go to connected apps, OAuth usage, scroll down to the Salesforce field service for OS or for Android, which is supposed to be somewhere, but I'm not seeing it anywhere. Am I blind? It could be because I don't have anybody registered, because what we're seeing here is that I've got one person registered. So I think that's what it is, because this is the usage, right? So you could revoke the token and or it's really the authentication token. And so what that does is it basically kicks them out and they have to punch in their username and password again. And then by doing that, you're basically installing all the new stuff every time they do that. So that might be one way. So just be mindful about that when you're implementing it.
So that's for when the Lightning Web Component gets updated. We push that in, and then at night we revoke everyone's token so that they have to log in the morning. Therefore, they all use the same updated LWC.
That's right.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. This is not lived. This is only heard through the grapevine of other people's burnt. Like we share the favorite horror stories. So just keep that in mind and keep us posted on what it is. Okay. One of the things that is on my roadmap too is to install this into my org as part of the setup, but Yeah, we'll add that to the list too. Okay, so keep us posted. All right. So that was just a little segue before we get in. I just wanted to share that the inventory section of the field service implementation checklist has been added, like enhanced based off of our discussion last week. So thank you to everybody for the discussion. That was really awesome. Like I loved the collaboration that we spent there. So anybody who has this link, I'll copy it. You all could have access to this as a commenter, and I'm pretty sure you can just like download a copy. But at least if you have a link, you can have access to this document that I'm constantly updating. And then, just as a tidbit, this has also been shared with the Salesforce team as we continue to develop the Go, Salesforce Go quick start thing. Yeah, I'm keeping them in the loop on how we see the basic implementation and then what is the discussion points for advanced and things like that. So, behind the scenes there. Was there one more thing I wanted to say? No, I'm just going to keep it basic here for now. Where I wanted to go was service appointment generator. This was a little package that was developed when I was still at Salesforce because I had two customers with the exact same problem. And I was like, I am not going to tell them to do both of them the exact same thing. Why don't I just build it and then just give them the package and then they can do what they want with the core code and they can just take the baseline and run with it. And part of the reason why was because they also had the same sales engineer. So shout out to Chris Albanese. He is distinguished engineer, a solution engineer at Salesforce, and he's an awesome, awesome person. So we conspired and put this little ditty together. It hasn't been updated because I haven't bothered Chris to do the update yet. So it is in my GitHub. I can share you that, except I found a bug in the code. I don't know whether it's because there was an update and I don't know what happened, but I had to comment something out of one of our test classes, which is weird. It's this one here. I had to comment this out because it kept saying that this variable didn't exist or the stm.id wasn't defined. I don't know how I was able to implement this multiple times before, and then now all of a sudden I'm not getting it. I don't know. I've run through it. It works. So without this line, nothing seems to break. And then the other test that I have to do is I had to install each one of these components separately. So let me run through it a few times before I share this link with you. And then I'll figure out how I can get that app exchange updated. So this is an unmanaged package, meaning you can take this code and then do whatever you'd like with it afterwards. Everything is unlocked, meaning you can customize it. So what is it? What is it?
Organized.
That particular code is because it's only just that code though. I've been cleaning it up for a year every so often. Go ahead, Bruce.
Do you want to say for one second what it is not? Because you started talking about this just now, and I thought it was Simon's like work order generator. I think you've
Oh,
already
for sure.
described that, but that's
Yes.
one thing that does something. This is something different.
This is something different. So if so the problem statement that these two customers had was they have they send multiple resources to the job site for a number of days. It could be a week, it could be 3 months, but they schedule anywhere between a week or 2 weeks at a time. Every week, they'll schedule another 2 weeks kind of thing. And the makeup of their crew is always different. And not only the makeup of the crew is different, but some people only go for half of the day. Some people go for the full day. Sometimes they go every other day of the week. Sometimes they only go once like on Mondays. So the cadence wasn't what we know of as multi-day. So multi-day couldn't work for them because they were not dedicated on the site for the duration of the project. And they were not necessarily there the whole day. And there could be varying people that go in and out. So an electrician might not need to be there every single day. They might need to be there for the beginning and for the end of the project. You might not need the architect there. Again, like they're only there maybe once a week. So the dynamic nature of their crews, so crew management didn't work for them either. So couldn't use multi-day, couldn't use crew management. And we tried various ways of automating the crew members for certain days. And then we also tried rotating service territory members. Oh my God, don't ever do that. It's awful. The number of records to create. So we tried many other ways. And then I finally connected with Chris and I was like, wait a second, how did you demo this to them? And he showed me and I said, this is the most genius thing. Like, why isn't this part of the product? And so talked to product team and it's been on the ideas list for a really long time and just couldn't get to it. So we have this package now. So they approved the approach and all of that. So this has product management approval or blessing, if you will, for at least the approach. It's not going to impact any of the roadmap items or anything like that. Yeah, this is it. I'll walk through what it is. So it's a collection of fields. I don't know if I might have a helper object or so, but there's a lot of Apex class flows and a Lightning Web component, but it's mostly actually no Lightning Web components, only flows, screen-based flows, and a lot of Apex. And the reason why we needed Apex was because this is gathering all of the service territory members of a selected territory, displaying them in a list. And then after you see the displayed list, it will generate for you, given your whatever date horizon, a service appointment for every single selected service resource for every single day that's in the horizon. And you basically select which days and which resources that you want to send to the job site at any given period of time. 2 prerequisites. 1, our beloved data table is required. And therefore, if you're going to have data table, you're going to need the flow actions base pack and the flow screen components base pack. So during our development, we made the decision to install this partly because both customers already had data table installed in their orgs. Part of the reason is they manage a lot of assets and they've been using data table to help manage their assets. So we were like, that's nice. And it also happened to be like 2 or 3 releases before the out of the box data table came. And one of the requirements that our customers had was they needed to be able to edit in line of the data table, which this offering provides. And I still don't think that the out of the box data table offers inline editing.
It does not.
Thank you. So this guy, we love it. Eric Smith, shout out to Eric Smith. He is a gem. He is officially Hall of Famer of the Salesforce MVP. He's still active managing this thing. So we love it and we love him. So once you install the package, okay, hold on one second. If you happen to install this version, it's okay. I think, and if you bump into an error, just message me and let me know right away. Like, I think the only thing that's missing here is, it might be a big thing. In the latest version, we're matching against skills. So if there are any skills missing, or if there's any resource absences, we're surfacing those absences. So one of the requirements that we had was these dispatchers do not care if there's an overlap. Sometimes they want an overlap so that they can decide the day of or the week of which job is going to be more important for that resource to do. So they were okay with overlaps. So we didn't want to use any scheduling policies or any scheduling engine. So this is not an automatic scheduling or enhanced scheduling optimization solution. This is we know as a dispatcher, better than any scheduling engine, what I say goes. When I say that I'm sending John Townsend Harrison to the job site on Tuesday from 3 to 4, that's where he's going. The end. I don't care what else he's doing. He's going to field service office hours. So that's the thing. But what we did want to know was, okay, what's the percentage of availability for this time frame? Maybe, okay, I'll send somebody who's for sure totally available. At least you've got that visibility in the table. And then same thing for an absence or another appointment. Like you can see, oh, so skills was important. Sometimes they didn't really care. Sometimes it's just give me at least one of the skills. We also take levels into consideration too. So that's what you will not get in this App Exchange package release. So if you download my version and then comment out that one line on row 107 of that test class, you can get the newer version. Okay. Once you install it, there's install I guess it's 4 packages, right? The unofficial SF, the 3 packages for unofficial SF, then our appointment generator package. The first thing that we're going to have to do is go to the service appointment and we have to delete the validation rule. Again, the concept is we know better. We are the dispatchers. Just schedule these appointments from create. So this validation rule says don't allow scheduled or dispatch on create. So we need to stop that. The next thing that you need to do is there's a permission set that's part of that package. This needs to be installed for any user who's going to be using this package because this is giving you access to all the Apex classes and all of I think the flows, but for sure the Apex classes and all of the new custom fields that we created. We thought it would just be easier to create a specific permission set than it would be for us to tell you, hey, here are all the fields that we created. Now go and tick all the boxes. So there's that packet, there's that permission set. And then on a work order, add this multi-resource assignment wizard flow to the screen page. And then we did create this Lightning app page template. I don't know what you call those things. But what's cool about it is it collapses the sidebar panel, which makes it gives you more real estate on the screen if your data table ends up being really long. That's it. It takes a long time to install the stuff, but once you install it, it's relatively quick to just set up. You can run with it right away. However, there's going to be some config things that you're likely going to need to do for your business. There's a lot of custom messaging that you could put in. There's a default maximum number of weeks to get, like some things that you might want to configure, and then other fields that you might want to display in your data table. So all those things, like minor things, but we can just run through it and you can play with it just by doing these 6 steps. Want to see it? Oh, questions. Hold on. What's in the chat? Oh, sure. Okay. So yes. Okay. So I'll start with your first question, John. So that overrides any scheduling conflicts, time travel availability. It does. It does do that. So again, the idea is we need to be on site at this time, figure it out. We know better than the scheduling engine. So that was the premise for this package.
Got it. So
Okay.
do we do that saying, this is the most important thing. You're going to be there, schedule it. There will be conflicts, and then run the thing that says, figure out what the conflicts are.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. So I'll run through what that could possibly look like. There's one bug that I found. I'm not sure exactly why. I think I don't have the perms or there's something going on with delete. I don't know. But yes, so we'll walk through what the package does and what it's supposed to do. And then, yes, so why is it available in App Exchange? Okay, so the unofficial SF packages for data table and these flow action base packs, these are not available in App Exchange. You have to go to unofficial SF. And this service appointment generator is version 1, but I have since made enhancements and have a version 2. And that is I think we do also have this on unofficial SF. Yes, I do, but we haven't updated it yet. So the package, so I read, of course, so I redirected it to the App Exchange one, right? Oh, and then here's the GitHub repository. Oh, it's pointing to Chris's. It's not the newest one. So this, what's in Chris's GitHub is what is on App Exchange. So version 1. Version 2 is in my GitHub, which I haven't updated here yet. If there's interest, let me know and I will hustle to make it happen. We do have all of the feature requests in unofficial SF. So if you wanted to see all of the things that we wanted to build, you can take a look at that. And I feel like a new person is managing this site now. Does anybody remember? Because it used to be Alex Edelman, but somebody has since taken the reins of this site. And I remember saying to the person, oh, now I know who to bother. I don't know. It wasn't on this call. I don't think so. Yeah. Okay. Thanks. Anyways, we'll figure it all out. So there's more content in this unofficial SF than there is on App Exchange. So I'll at least paste that in there because that has the most information. All right, let's see it. When I install the package, I did not do the page layout thing yet. I was going to show that with you all together. I just create a tab in my App Exchange, in my Lightning app page. So you go into edit page and just add the flow to it. I usually just create a tab and just embed that flow there. We've done things in the past where you can put certain fields that help preset certain fields in this flow. Like you can use them as inputs if you populate them. But again, I'm going to show you just baseline without any of the fancy extra config stuff first. Okay. So minimum implementation path is add this field, okay, or this component. This component has 2 screens. This is the second screen. This screen only shows when you have service appointments already created. So if I edit the service appointments, I can delete them all, and then I'll show you what it looks like.
But the nature of your warning was you as a dispatcher may not want to delete everything that's there. If somebody's in progress, there may be good work happening or things that are billable already underway that you may not know about. So it's good you're surfacing all that.
Exactly. Yep. So it's supposed to delete it, and we'll see if it actually does. Yeah, because there might be a flow that I might need to activate. Let's just look at my dispatcher console. So earlier in my testing, I reassigned a collection of service appointments from one resource to another, and it cloned it. It didn't delete it. So I was a little bit shocked to see that. Although, did it? I don't know. Weird. Yeah. So I'm still expecting it to be deleting. Oh, good. Okay, they're gone. So now are you going to go away? Is it even today? Oh my God, it's the wrong day. That's why I was shocked. Okay, I'm looking at the wrong day. So let's start from scratch. So I've got a new work order. There's no service appointments. So then now this page changes. So let's just refresh to show you that I have no service appointments, and the service appointment generator this is the homepage. Okay. So now when you're in discovery mode or when you're creating your service appointments or your work orders and talking about work types, certain work types, for example, like big installation projects or those big multi-day projects that will require you to leverage this tool, you might want to untick the auto create service appointment box on your work type. right? So that you have no service appointments available, or write a little lull beforehand that deletes it beforehand. But that's something to consider when you're using this tool, because you probably want your dispatchers to start at this screen if they're doing it for the first time. So in this flow, we're using sections, and sections were important before, like in, I don't know, like 24 era, because sometimes it wasn't supported. But anyways, we should be supported now. I don't know, Bruce, do you remember that? Remember we couldn't like display certain things because we were using sections
I think
and we were all sad?
there was even a bug with a data table in a section that you would like
Yes, I think maybe
bang
that's
your
what
head
it
about.
was.
So yeah, sections are good in screen flows. You can make them conditionally visible. Don't show the stuff, don't overwhelm someone with stuff at the bottom until they've filled out stuff at the top. Or Choose Your Own
Yes.
Adventure, they said it's a red appointment or a blue appointment or weekends only or whatever. You may have different rich text, advice, or different fields to show based on what they choose. And sections were your only way to put things across. So if you didn't want a lot of scrolling, you could say, here's this field, next to it, another type of input, next to it, another type of input.
Yeah.
Summer now, you have that styling aspect, right? On each control, you can say, take up this much across and thereby get things next to it. But sections were the only ways to get columns in there.
Like that. Yep. Thank you. Okay. So I'll do a side by side of how the flows work. So if it's a new flow if it's for a brand new set of service appointments, it will redirect you to this screen. So the first screen will likely be enter parameters step 1. So like Bruce was saying, these are sections. They are adorable. You can set the right component visibility. It's all wonderful. We had a few, I think this one might be one. Yeah. So you'll see with the little eye here that there are some component visibility here, because some of this stuff are just more admin notifications that just tell you, hey, this is what happened. So before you release to the wild, you'll have to clean up some of these screens. And as you can see, all of these messages, so easy for you to modify and make it your own flavor, if you will. So as we're seeing here, we put some reference data in here. And part of the reference data is to just for those really big projects where you want to know when this work order is supposed to start and when it's supposed to end. So what are like my service appointments? We don't want my service appointments to go outside of the parameters of these work order start and end dates. Same kind of thing with this earliest service appointment found and latest service appointment found. So if we're dealing with a 3-month project horizon and I'm like on month 2, I need to know when my next batch of service appointments should start and end. And we're not really typically looking for overlap. Although this is a really great tool to say, oh, I need to send in and double up or have a morning shift and an evening shift because we're now behind schedule. So yeah, like now you can say what date range, right? But this will be if you need to do it sequentially. These are just helper fields to let you know what we have. And then we've got skills with the level. So every single skill on the work order. So the work order related, would you call those work order required skill requirements? So the skill requirements are being concatenated in here. So there is this note, maximum 2 weeks. I threw this on here just as a discussion point. There is a bit of a limitation on, I think it's a couple of things. It's the data table as well as just the processing of too many records. I think it's 3,000 or something like that. 3,000 records. You can't have more than that to create, or could even be less than that. But we want to make sure that you're not creating way too many records because it will crash your system and just won't work, or it would be even too much for you to, which ones do I select? We did hear from a third customer, and I thought that when I'm starting from here, I'm only, if I need to schedule from July 8 to July 15, I'm just looking at those dates and I'm looking to select people from those dates. But I had this one customer that said, I want to see July 8 and 15 to 8/15, but I'm really only looking for 2 days in that horizon. And I'm just really looking to see out of that date range, which are the best days to send my guys or my team. So I thought that was an interesting like application where you're basically using this as a book appointment where you're checking the availability before you commit a person. So it's blending like book appointment with get candidate because now you've got visibility of the people as well as flexibility on which date and time.
And I think importantly, an important difference, when you miss with book appointments or get candidates, you get nothing. You don't know why. This works in the maybes. Oh, maybe that one person has an absence in the middle of the week and they could move that or not. This person is missing one skill. Maybe you could skill them up in that time, or I don't know, fly somebody in for that role or whatever. It doesn't give you the headache of nothing and then doing the drag drop and then finding out, oh, it's because of X. You lay out with this tool the details of what the near misses are.
Yeah. We do say, what start time. Now we could go on a tangent about time zones. So I won't go on a tangent. I'll just say caution. This is in the context of your time zone. So I'm in Eastern. So this is 8 o'clock Eastern. So if I'm looking to schedule in San Francisco, I have to use my brain to count whatever direction in however many numbers. So just, I think there was some sort of helper field that you could add here to do that calculation because, yeah, doing that math sucks. So that's a big pain. Sometimes they've got 10 or 12-hour shifts, or it could be 4-hour shifts. So this is just a default set. And honestly, when you see the appointments, you can change the start time, and which then is taken into context of the territory. Anyways, just shake my head with territories, time zones. And then you could also change the duration too when you're in the data table. And then you may decide to just automatically dispatch. For sure, you're going because you're on with the customer and they're saying, if you don't come on site, I'm going to cancel your contract. So yeah, we're locking it in. Scheduled is the default, but that's just a setting in your flow. So if you're seeing that you're mostly dispatching every single service appointment you're creating, then just change the default status to be dispatched. You can include the weekend if you want to, or again, if it's just that emergency situation when we're like, okay, we're not going to hit our deadline if we don't work on the weekends, then you can only search for weekend availability, which is pretty cool. So I'm just going to include the weekends here. Okay. There are some customers who like to search across multiple territories. I don't give you that option here, but yes, you could do some fancy footwork to configure that. So let's just go with, again, out of the box stuff. And then from a skill perspective, you could say not specific. So I'm going to say not specified because this is actually filtering. It's only going to show anybody that has a skill. So maybe with break fix level 1, I'm okay with sending anybody. Like if you do maintenance, I think I'm okay sending a break fix person, but I do want to show you how the skills will work. Okay. So let's just run it. Here we are with the very first data table. And already you can see, I sure wish I could collapse this puppy because this is a really long table. This is the first instance of data table. You can put whatever love note you want to put here to help guide your dispatcher in making the right decision. But you do have to at least pick one. So that's why we put one message. So everybody's available. Everybody seems to have that skill, which is a little too serendipitous and totally not what I was looking for. but whatever, we'll just go with it. If there's a skill mismatch, then you would see like a 0 out of 1, right? Or yeah. Or if there's 2 required skills, then you'll see, and they only have 1, then it'll be 1 out of 2. So that's where you'll see that. And then same thing with availability. If we had there's an availability calculation so that you understand the math around it. You can put that on as a field, as a helper field that we provide. You can put that there to better understand and just validate that the darn thing's even working properly. Natalie, were you going to say something?
Yeah, the one thing I really do love about this table that you've got is the ability for the pagination so that you can flip through
Oh.
if you've got a huge number of people.
Yes. So that's just a data table setting that you can turn on if you want to. And yeah, you're totally right. I like that too. And can you set how many rows before pagination? Yeah, it's the best. Eric's the best. Thinks of everything. Yeah. So I selected 3 resources. Now what's happening is for that date horizon, it's now creating a service appointment for every single service resource for every single day in that horizon. Okay. So again, same thing. If there was a conflict, you would see it. You would see the resource absence number. And then if there's a service appointment, you'll see the service appointment number. And then you'll be able to see what the percentage of availability is. Again, it's based off of the horizon that you select. So if it's 7 days, it does the math based off of, I think, the number of hours. I don't know. I can't remember, but the formula will show you. Now, the cool thing is you can select all, and I'm not thinking about it. I'm just going to book everybody because this is what it is. However, you could do some cool things where you're going to say, I'm going to just select, okay, this is the cool thing about data table. Gloria Barnes is going to need to be there for 10 hours. And so I updated all of that. Hey, this is something that's going to annoy people because it annoys me. You cannot say, let's just say she can arrive on site at 10 o'clock. The darn thing won't work. If I decided to say, I'm going to select all of this and I want to say, okay, I want this all to be 10 a.m. No, be careful. Do not ever do this because now all of the dates are going to be July 9 at 10 a.m. It's not updating the time only. So that sucks. So I don't know how to fix that. I don't think we can really fix that. So if you are going to do something like that, just do not select that button that says update all when you're dealing with date time fields. Okay. So I'm just going to update those just so that you can see. Oh, I'm going to just make a couple of these shorter again to just prove. Oh, seriously? Okay. What? Weird. And then I'm going to select all except for these days. And then I'm just going to hit next. So it's doing all the things. If, for example, right, I selected some, whoa, it's like pinging on my phone. For the ones that you did not select, there is a custom field that we created called MRDT status, creation status or something. And ultimately what we're doing is if it doesn't get selected, we're changing the status to be deleted. And then we've got a recurring flow that checks every so often that says, I think it's every hour. If there's any deleted appointments, delete them. And then every single time you go into the create flow, it's checking to see if there's any and it deletes it as well. So you've got a lot of purging and cleaning up that's happening. Oh, I'm just seeing the comments here. John, you said you created a pile of code that would update a text field on customer-centric start time upon every edit. Yeah, we're not talking about time zone. Exactly. Time zone is not our favorite. Bruce, your caution. If 2 dispatchers are using the tool at the exact same time for nearby work, they may see the same resources available and grab them at the same time. So Yes, some sort of communication and collaboration would be required if you've got multiple dispatchers scheduling for the same territory. You might steal someone's resource. But again, I think you'll just double book them. Bruce, did you bump into anything beyond that though?
Yeah, no, that's all. I think when you're riding solo, you get a lot of confidence in a really powerful tool like this. But I think the caution is I've got my confidence. I'm sitting here doing it. So I'm booking 10 people in Detroit. You've got your confidence. You're booking 10 people in Detroit. And we end up with egg on our face because, oh, I'm talking to the client. I'm saying, yes, they can get there. And depending on, we're both hitting home at the same time. It's not eating out of the same reality as if you went and then a minute later I went, that sort of thing.
Yeah,
And
that's true.
the question I popped in there earlier, though, you in this demo are coming from a pre-existing work order. I don't know if you can dig into it. Like, what is required on the work order for this tool to
Oh, I
work?
missed that one.
Yeah, I was thinking more, about territory. I know if we're doing
Yes.
polygons, the essays create the territory. I know when we used this tool
Good
together,
question.
we were cooking up the territories for each project. But what does the work order baseline have to have for your tool to be successful?
That's a good question. Thank you. Okay, so let's take a step back and let's see. I think I think all I did was the work type. I think that's the only thing that's required. I'm going to just do it and then let's see what it is. Because I believe that the first thing so I've got my default here. So I'll delete this. Having the territory is only required to help, I think it was just to help set to pre-populate this. That's it. So all of those data points that we had on the work order just helps with simplifying the data entry on this screen. So for example, we could pre-populate the starting from to align to the work order start date and then the until with the work order end date. That's something that you can do. And then we are populating the territory based off of the work order territory. So I don't know. Let's just see what happens. Let's just create some stuff. Okay, perfect. Okay, this is actually good because then I can show you what it looks like when people are busy. So here's the formula. It's not cute, but it helps you as a builder to understand, is this really true or not? Is this percentage of availability actually true? So this is the logic behind it. And it's just a component. You just take it off or you just set the visibility to only be service system admins. But yeah, that's the deal. So Luis is totally booked during that time frame. And then we've got, Gloria Barnes is also booked. So here's where you would say, okay, I've got other people available 100% of the time, so I might as well just book them. Or I really need Matthew Parker because do I have a skill thing here? No, nobody has a skill. But if it was a scenario where Matthew Parker is like, I need him, he's the one that's got the skill, like you can still double book. So I'm going to just do some double booking. Let's see if it actually generates. I'm going to just do them all and just for kicks and see what happens.
While you're generating, Brad asked a question, do the service points
Oh.
generate with the duration from the work type? I'm going to say they don't because you're
No.
setting those start and ends on each one, right?
Yeah. So I was going to go through the components or the elements of the data that we created. Good question. So I'm going to just close this because now I got lost in the sauce and I don't know where I am. So let's open up one of these appointments. Oh, I don't like that. I want to see it. I don't want to edit it. Okay. So what we're doing with code is we're creating the assigned resource. We are changing the status and we're setting the scheduled start and the scheduled end to be the times that we set, which therefore means and then the duration is set from the table.
And so any perceived advantage someone might have from like your efficiency as a worker, if the system knows I could get it done in 80% of the time and you could get it done in 70% of the time, the data table rules here. The times that the dispatcher said, I want you on site from this time to this time, it doesn't matter that I could get that kind of job done using the efficiency in the system, but it gives the dispatcher the control to say, I know who's going to be where and when with those surprises.
Exactly. Exactly. So the ways that, because this is effectively hard coded, right? We're even setting the earliest start date to be the scheduled start date and the due date to be, I guess it's the following day, but I thought these were supposed to match. So the point of that is typically you see people, dispatchers, wanting to just drag and drop to another day. We don't want you to do that. If there was a scenario where like the only dragging and dropping that we ever expected to happen was, okay, I'm not going to send Gloria Barnes anymore. I'm going to send Alexander, and I'll just drag and drop the same day's appointment to another person because Gloria Barnes called in sick. And if it was just for one day or Gloria Barnes, I needed to, okay, actually, let's pull this back to Gloria. Oh, 6 o'clock. Okay, so here's an example of the overlap here. So I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to send Jane to this appointment, right? That day. There's another thing that we can do though. I can go to, instead of just dragging and dropping every single one, we thought there would be a cool need to reassign work. So this edit, so you can create additional ones if you want to, but if you needed to edit, there are 3 things that you can do. You just saw me delete a whole bunch. So I can delete all of them, or I can hand select the ones that I need to delete. I could also just change, like maybe I want to change the duration and make this one 4 hours. So you could just change the data right from here. You could say, okay, customer called and said, okay, you cannot come anymore until you can't start until the 15th. So you could say, take all of the existing appointments that started on the 8th up until the 15th. And you need to like basically pick them all up and move them to another day. So now we can't be on site until the 15th. We have to start on the 15th. Okay, no problem. I'm just going to pick it up and lift it. And all of those appointments have been just all the dates have changed, assigned to the same people, legit lift and shift. Right? So it just kicks it all the way out. The other thing you could do is, let's just say Matthew Parker, like we need to just pull him from the job and I need to put Jane Austen in instead. You could do that too. Oh, whoops. So if I edit the service appointments, I could say change service resource. And I could say all of these, I'll just sort by Matthew Parker. All of these Matthew Parker ones, I'm going to select them all. And I'm going to say, oh, I can do all of this stuff. I'm going to tick all these boxes because I don't remember if I included weekends or not. I'm going to assign it all to Luis, who has no availability, but whatever. We're just going to do it anyway because we can. And then just hit finish. And so again, you'll see all of his appointments. Oh, I meant to put it to Jane Austen. Whoops. So now she's double booked. That's okay. We'll wait a few seconds for it to all load.
I'm seeing travel on some.
Yeah.
E-
I think. Oh, yeah. I don't know. It's either because I don't have an address on this, which I don't.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's data in the sandbox. All right. And there was that other creepy thing you and I found recently, right? If it gets scheduled on a day that there's no availability, or I guess presumably at night, travel books aren't done. Yeah.
If you wait, you were saying if you travel here, you're saying it doesn't get calculated because it's on unavailability. Yes. There is a now known thing. If you have enhanced, okay, so Brad, in case this is probably for you, with enhanced scheduling optimization turned on, if for whatever reason you want to drag and drop and schedule an appointment to somebody after hours, so in the gray zone, if you will, for some reason, travel doesn't calculate. But if you put them in available time, then it calculates.
Really?
So-
Wow. I did
Yeah.
not know that. Thank you.
Yeah, product didn't know it either. They were like, that's weird. And then
Right.
some of the other partner advisory board teams were saying, yeah, it worked in classic, but not like classic optimization, but not enhanced.
Yeah. And so cringically, let's say you add a shift around it. So there is availability, then you drag it there. Yes, there's travel. When you delete that shift, the travel stays.
No, really?
Yeah. So I guess order of
Well-
operations thing, but
Yeah.
so if the KPIs matter to you and you want to see travel always, if you're scheduling someone off hours, you have to open up that availability for them somehow. And shifts might be the best way to do that ad hoc.
So it looks like I double booked Luis for this Omega one. Usually what I would tell a dispatcher in those moments where you've just gone and messed everything up is to just delete everything and rebuild it. Because yeah, I could just go get a coffee and just do this fun thing. But fortunately there's few of them. But if you've got a lot, then that's gonna suck. And it might not matter which one, but in the case of this short one, because maybe it's the repair expert versus the electrician, I don't know. Just some food for thought. Holy, time flies. That's service appointment generator. I do have a hard stop. So if anybody has any other questions, shoot me an email. And if you've got an idea for another topic, please let me know. We will be back next week too. So I'll come up with some other topics. But if you want me to focus on something else, shoot me an email.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody. We'll see you again.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.